You thought Charles might present problems on the ground. Nope. You thought Charles would present some problems on the feet. But Charles is known to go into the fire. You cannot go into the fire with this guy. And I think what was most impressive was the right hand actually ended the fight for Charles Oliveira.
No, Charles gets hit in a lot of his fights. That was just Ilya being that good. That was insane.
Daniel Cormier didn't hold back, delivering a ruthless verdict on Charles Oliveira while crowning Ilia Topuria as the next unstoppable king. Furthermore, Cormier openly praised Topuria's skill, highlighting how he can control opponents and knock them out. He is impressed that Ilia announces just exactly what he plans to do and delivers.
Ilia Topuria. Wow. Very rarely am I like at a loss for words when it comes to athletes. I really cannot find the words to explain what we are seeing from Ilia Topuria. I mean, his ability to control guys, knock guys out, tell us what he's going to do to knock guys out, and then go out there and deliver is second to none. You know, you kind of expected him to have a harder time with Charles Oliveira because we have seen everybody have a hard time with Charles Oliveira. You know, except for Islam. Islam dealt with him pretty good.
In addition, Daniel Cormier emphasizes that Ilia has so much faith in his skills, his team, and his preparation that when he makes bold predictions, he is not just trash talking, rather he truly believes he will do it. Just like Ilia said he would knock Charles out in round 1 and then actually did exactly that.
He made a promise that he would get it done in the first round, and he got it done in the first round. We honestly sat at the table thinking to ourselves, I don't know if it's good that Topuria is out celebrating a victory that has not happened yet. But this young man has so much confidence in not only himself, but his preparation and his team and his ability that when he says these things, he's not just spewing garbage. He believes that he is going to do it. And he almost speaks it into existence. Tonight, he spoke into existence a knockout over Charles Oliveira. Fight starts. He hits Charles with a right hand, cuts him very early in a bad spot. Charles takes him down along the octagon side.
Cormier pointed out that many expected Charles Oliveira to be dangerous, both on the ground and on the feet, given his reputation for creating problems for opponents wherever the fight goes. However, Ilia Topuria's powerful right hand shut all that down, decisively ending Oliveira's night.
You thought Charles might present problems on the ground. Nope. You thought Charles would present some problems on the feet. But Charles is known to go into the fire. You cannot go into the fire with this guy. And I think what was most impressive was the right hand actually ended the fight for Charles Oliveira. But because Topuria is so good at throwing in combination that he threw the left hook right after it, and the left hook landed too and just knocked Charles out even more. He didn't really need to land the follow-up shots, but he did because you are to fight until the referee says stop. Yo, this kid's impressive, man. The kid's very impressive. He's only 28 years old. He's only had 9 UFC fights, and he's already a double champion.
Building on that, Paddy Pimblett tipped his hat to Ilya's knockout win, but didn't hold back when it came to himself. He made it clear he believes Ilya might have put Charles away, but putting him down is a different story altogether.
Here you go, Podster.
I think it's 50-50, lad, but Charles looks nervous. Ilya looks very calm. Good. Heavy knockout, but I think he knows quite well he couldn't do that to me. Let's go! Get in here.
Meanwhile, Sean O'Malley did not hold back his praise for Ilia Topuria. Sean emphasized that including Charles in his list of knockouts puts him in a top position among the pound-for-pound fighters. Watching that finish play out, O'Malley admitted that he felt a wave of relief that Ilya never took him up on his call-out.
I don't know, after I beat Cheeto, I called out Ilya, and he got scared and ran to 155. No, I'm just kidding. Thank God the UFC didn't make that fight. Was that a 2-3-2? 2-3. Holy f***. Islam versus Topuria needs to happen. He's up there with John Jones. Knocked out Bolt, knocked out Max, knocked out Charles. Islam next at 170. Holy f***. Who would even fight Ilya at 155 next? Holy fuck. Thank God he didn't accept my call out.
He probably went down from the first right hand.
Who would Ilya needs to fight Islam. But it does, if Islam loses, that's not the same. Ilya versus Islam now needs to happen. Ilya is a superstar. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, the fight didn't play out too long. I was hoping we got to see some sick scrambles, but Ilya is just that good.
Furthermore, O'Malley pointed out that Charles tends to take plenty of shots in his fights, but this time it was all about Ilya's sheer level. Looking ahead, O'Malley said the obvious next step is to line Ilya up with Paddy Pimblett, a matchup he believes would set the division alight.
No, Charles gets hit in a lot of his fights. That was just Ilya being that good. That was insane. Just sat on a right hand, left hook. Ilya versus Paddy is the fight to make. That's the fight to make. Simple as that. Ilya versus Paddy, 100%. That's the next fight. If it's not going to be Ilya versus Islam.
Building on that, Daniel Cormier voiced his excitement for the fight between Ilya versus Paddy. He pointed to Paddy's size as his advantage, because when it came to striking, he was not as well of striker as Charles, who got knocked out cold by Ilya.
Paddy Pimblett went to the Octagon afterwards. I believe that's a great fight. I believe Paddy will have to use his size against Ilya if he wants a chance, though, because he is not known as good a striker as Charles Oliveira. And you saw what Ilya did to Charles. So you got to be very careful on the Paddy Pimblett side to make sure that you're doing the right things to ensure that you can get to him and try to take him down. Charles didn't have much success taking him down. Ilya Topuria is a real-life star, man.
Moreover, Tom Aspinall was left visibly stunned as he watched the knockout unfold, so taken aback that he was momentarily at a loss for words. The sheer brutality of Ilya's finish left even the heavyweight contender grasping for something to say.
Oh, he's knocked it out cold.
Adding to the buzz, Michael Bisping stated that Topuria was incredible overall. He added that he couldn't be a bigger fan, praising Topuria for both his phenomenal skills, but also for being a gentleman both in and out of the octagon.
One more time, Ilya Topuria, the man is just unbelievable. Simple as that. He's incredible. And I could not be a bigger fan of the guy. He's an absolute gentleman out of the octagon. Inside the octagon, he's just an absolute killer. He's got some of the biggest power. He's got beautiful technique, excellent grappling. He's a true professional in every single way. And as I say, just an all-round great human being as well.
However, MMA Guru stated that when the KO happens, everyone is stunned and amazed by the KO, but when you watch it back and look at the guy that got KO'd, you start to wonder what his game plan was. He implied that Charles did not seem to have any solid game plan. However, looking forward, he stated that he now believes that Ilya has the skills to take down Islam Makhachev.
Ilya cracks him with a straight right, lands the left hook behind it. It's just one of those moments where the KO happens and you're watching it and you're going, wow, what an amazing KO. But then when you watch it back, you look at the guy who got KO'd and think, why were you there? What was the plan here? You know what I mean? I know mistakes happen, but it was tough to watch that decision making live mid-fight. So Ilya Topuria sleeps Oliveira. He will sleep Makhachev as well, in my opinion. I've changed my mind. Watching the grappling exchange here, featherweights just run lightweights. They always have.
In addition, the Wade concept weighed in, stating that the UFC has found its new star in Ilya. He emphasized how Ilya backed up every word of his talk by flattening Charles out cold in round 1. Wade further added that this kind of swagger and self-belief hasn't been seen in a very long time in UFC.
Ilya Topuria has just taken over the entire promotion of the UFC and quite frankly the entire sport of MMA. UFC fans, you have your next big superstar, and his name is El Matador. He just knocked out Charles Oliveira, that's right, Du Bronx, in the first round of his introduction to 155 pounds, and he is the new lightweight champion of the world in the UFC. He has now held belts in 2 separate weight classes, and he is starting to make a legacy that is undeniable. 17-0 and no flaw. Magnitude to the performance, to the delivery, to the spectacular nature of the finish, all of it culminating in Ilia Topuria going absolutely bonkers and doing exactly what he said he would do. If you guys didn't see during fight week, it was almost like a foregone conclusion from Ilia Topuria that he was going to win this fight. A level of confidence that we have not seen in the UFC in a very, very long time.
Wade highlighted that the real difference between Ilia and Charles was all about striking in the pocket. While Charles got the better of their first exchange, it was the second that changed everything.
I told you guys coming into this fight, and I'll tell you again, the biggest gap I saw between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira was obviously in the striking department, and it was in the pocket. The moments where this fight would get heavy is when Ilia Topuria and Charles both decided to engage in the phone booth fight. And right away from the opening bell, this happened. And funny enough, as the fight started, both of them traded in the pocket, and Charles Oliveira was the one that came out the victor in their first exchange as soon as the fight started. He clipped Ilia Topuria with a right hand that made Ilia back off and rethink that exchange. And ultimately, there was a scramble where Charles Oliveira got double underhooks. And
furthermore, Wade also drew comparisons between Ilia and Conor McGregor, pointing out striking similarities in their meteoric rises and fearless attitudes. But he went a step further, arguing that Ilia's current run is actually surpassing what McGregor achieved at the same stage.
And then he comes into 155 pounds and knocks Charles Oliveira out, another former world champion, in the weight class he was stepping into. That 3-fight run is one of the better ones maybe I've ever seen. And it wasn't against just supplementary talent. These were top-line fighters, best of the best. The only person missing from that equation, and may not be missing for very long, is Islam Makhachev. Such a welcoming of the moment. No jitters, no butterflies, the moment is too big. It reminds you of another guy that was the champion at 145 pounds and then jumped and became the champion at 155 pounds. I'm not saying that Ilia Topuria is Conor McGregor or Conor McGregor is Ilia Topuria, but to not see the parallels there, I think would be absolutely insane. I'm going to go out on a limb, and maybe I'm wrong, but you guys can tell me in the comments. I think from what I'm seeing from Ilia Topuria right now, his arc, without maybe the flash and the cameras and the superstar rocket ship that Conor McGregor built for himself and the UFC strapped to his back, Ilia Topuria's run is better. He has knocked out 2 of the 3 greatest 145-pound fighters.
Echoing similar sentiments, Dana White gave Ilia Topuria his full backing, calling him a complete fighter who made good on every promise he made and walked his talk. He praised Ilia's all-around game and didn't hesitate to admit that the UFC has a genuine star in the making with Topuria's name on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, he did exactly what he said he's going to do. He is an absolute complete fighter. Stand-up is beautiful, ground, grappling, everything. He's on a great 3-fight win streak for sure. All legends that he knocked out. I don't know. I don't know where he sits pound for pound punching power, but, moving up a weight class like that and doing what you say you're going to do in the first round and the way he did it is very impressive. Again, to go in and say exactly what you're going to do and then do it in the way that he did it is impressive.
Building on that, commentator The Weasel revealed a surprising detail, saying Ilia celebrated early with a victory dinner alongside family and friends the night before the fight. He pointed out how Ilia called his shot, laying out when he intended to end the fight and delivered on that. Weasel pointed out another intriguing fact, that Ilia even apologized to Charles before the fight, letting him know he was going to knock Charles out.
The man was partying, celebrating the win before the fight even happened. He apologized to his opponent days before the fight that he was going to knock him out, predicted he was going to win by knockout in the first round. Ilia Topuria is now the new lightweight champion, knocking out Charles Oliveira in the first round, exactly as he said he was going to. He said that Charles Oliveira's aggressive style was going to cause this kind of collision between them two, which will result in a knockout, and that's exactly what happened.
The only thing I know for sure is that I'm going to knock him out in the first round or submit him in the first round, because he walks forward. I'm not going to need to close the distance with him. Since the first moment, we are going to find each other in the center of the octagon, so yeah.
In addition, the Weasel highlighted how Ilia confidently predicted that once Oliveira had been dropped, there would be no getting back up. Weasel highlighted that Charles had been knocked down before, but not out cold like this.
Oliveira walked into the short right hand of Ilia Topuria and KO'd him out cold the likes we've never seen from Oliveira in the lightweight division, fighting monsters like Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, big powerful punchers. None of them were able to do that to Charles, and all of them dropped him. All of those guys floored Oliveira. And what did Ilia say in the press conference he had for himself? He said if he drops Oliveira, he is not getting up, as he hits harder than all of those guys. It seems to be so. Ilia Topuria, moving up from featherweight to lightweight, may also be the most powerful puncher in that weight class as well, and pretty much won off of fundamental boxing skills, where he was constantly getting off the center line, where Oliveira does his best work at. Jabs, straights, and teeps are some of Oliveira's best attacks, and Ilia always makes sure to sidestep to his left, so he can defend his chin behind his jab. Rising that punch is going to guard his chin with the shoulder, and that was mostly of what he was throwing, as somewhat of a feeling out process during the first round. But those were not just snapping jabs from distance like he's flicking them out there. A lot of those were power jabs, stepping with his body weight behind those to deliver with as much power as he can.
Moreover, Beneil Dariush added his voice to the chorus of praise, calling Ilia's showing an outright masterclass. He acknowledged his skill set, stating that Topuria is not just good, but elite, firmly planted among the sport's top tier.
Ilia's performance was masterclass. Like, you can't deny that guy. He's very good, you know. He's elite of the elite. He's elite of the elites, man. He's so good. He's whatever he's doing it's just ahead of the game.
Dariush further shared that he fully expected Ilia to get the job done inside the first or second round, but if it had swung Charles Oliveira's way, it would have needed to be a longer, grinding battle. He admitted he was surprised to see Charles come out so aggressively, pressing forward instead of trying to drag Ilia into deep waters.
A lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
Like 10 pounds of food?
Easy.
Okay, you know, when I spoke to Armand a few months ago, he told me he could eat 30 kinkali, like those dumplings, at once. How many do you think you could eat at once?
What the fuck, kinkali?
It's like a dumpling.
Eat about 50 dumplings, like. I've had like 44 chicken wings in one sitting.
On top of that, Dariush could not hide his confusion over the idea of throwing Paddy in with Ilia right now, with at least half a dozen contenders ahead of Paddy in the pecking order. He adds that the UFC just might make the fight happen because it would make for massive pay-per-view numbers.
As far as with the Paddy going in, man, I don't know why they did that. I'm assuming they want to give Paddy the title shot, and they're, you know, and I know Ilia wants that fight too, so it makes it a lot easier. It just, it's almost like I feel like you're feeding the kid to the lions, but you never know. He might have something we don't know for Ilia, so we'll see. Yeah, it feels that way. You know, it's like a sheep to the slaughter, but you don't know that. Yeah, because we're all fighters, and you know, somebody's style may be so different or whatever that actually causes problems for Ilia. I genuinely don't know, but so far Ilia has looked unstoppable. So it really surprised me because I thought, I really thought they would find somebody else, but I think the fact that the week of the fight, Ilia talked about Paddy, I think that kind of put something there, and then they had him come inside that cage. I'm not sure what they're gonna do, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make the Paddy fight happen, just because it could sell tickets.
However, Bedtime MMA summed it up by saying Ilia showed that he is operating on another level entirely, doing to Charles what no one had done before. Bedtime MMA praised how clean and decisive the finish was, as it left no doubt about Ilia's position in the lightweight division.
Ilia Topuria beats Charles Oliveira by round 1 TKO. It was a complete knockout. I'm not even gonna say TKO. Caught him with a very nasty right hand followed by left hook in the pocket. Completely colded him. Followed up with a shot, but Oliveira was out cold. It was just a really, really clean victory for Ilia Topuria. He is just as good as he says he is, and he took 0 damage in this fight. There was no struggle whatsoever. Charles Oliveira tried to mix in the zesty clinch, as I said he would. He tried to mix in the grappling. He tried to utilize the strength advantage in the clinch. I thought he landed some nice knees to the body, some nice leg kicks, but Ilia Topuria was just patient. Ilia just knew something that we didn't.
In the aftermath of Ilia Topuria's thunderous knockout over Charles Oliveira, the MMA world finds itself buzzing with praise, bold matchup talks, and debates about where Topuria truly ranks among the sport's elite. With the current landscape, the spotlight is locked firmly on Ilya. As the division braces for what comes next, one thing is certain: the new king isn't just here to reign, he's here to redefine what dominance looks like. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay ahead of all the drama, knockouts, and bold predictions rocking the MMA world, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your thoughts on who should face Ilia Topuria next, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a beat.